Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge. Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey. The New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child. Berkeley College. And by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, founded by the Jewish community. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger, powering NJ.com, and by Commerce Magazine.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. It is my pleasure to introduce Elaine Katz, who is Senior Vice President, Program Center at Kessler Foundation. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
We are partners, and you are helping us through a grant in which we are featuring organizations that are helping to employ and work with those who are disabled. And it's important for us to put in context the Kessler Foundation. People hear of Kessler, it's a huge brand, people know who you are on one level, but they may not know the foundation. Talk about that.
Well, the Foundation is a large national organization which focuses both on rehabilitation research and employment for individuals with disabilities. So our research is really something that's helping improve daily life for people with spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, multiple sclerosis, and our employment initiatives try to get large numbers of people with disabilities employed.
So hold on, is there two tracks?
There's two tracks.
Give us some examples, Lynn, if you could, on the research side.
Well, the research side, we're dealing with robotics, we're dealing with memory, helping people learn how to do their daily tasks better after some sort of disability. And on our research, our employment side, we're working with companies like Pepsi American Beverage, we're working with local and national organizations to really get those numbers increased of people with disabilities in the workforce.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Why is it so difficult to get those with disabilities hired?
No, that's a real challenge, and I think there's two reasons. First of all, there's the myth of, can people with disabilities really do the job? Do they have the skill? Do they have the talent? And then the second is, where are we going to find them? You know, so we might be a company that wants to hire disabilities, but we don't have anybody now, or we don't think we have anybody now. But really, there are lots of people currently employed that may have disabilities that aren't as obvious. So if I'm a company that wants to hire disabilities, where do I go? How do I get there? And that's what our projects do. We work with local communities as well as governments to help those companies really move that needle on employment.
Give us a concrete example. And we're actually, through this series, we're actually interviewing organizations, featuring organizations that are out there doing it. It's really blown us away because we would not have known of them otherwise if it were not for the foundation. Give us one concrete example where you say, we're really proud. I know that I'm putting you on the spot because there are so many others. And by the way, let's put up the website if we could, Jackie Cook, our senior producer, so people can find out about a lot of the other, there it is, the Kessler Foundation. Pick one foundation, one foundation grantee, if you will, where you say, hey, these folks are out there doing it. They're employing folks. They're making a difference. Go ahead.
Well, we have a great project that's on the second year with OfficeMax. And they have
OfficeMax?
OfficeMax. Now they're part of, they've just merged with Office Depot, but it's an OfficeMax project. And they've taken 4 of their key distribution centers in Dallas, in Ohio, in Las Vegas, in Chicago, and they set out a training center. So unlike some of the programs that we had before, and we've seen with Walgreens, it was just distribution center training for people with disabilities. This is doing both sides. So if I'm a young adult or someone interested in a job with OfficeMax, I can come into the training center and look at either the retail opportunities or the distribution center opportunities. So they're providing real jobs with real opportunities.
At OfficeMax, it's interesting. How do they find you?
Well, you know, Steve, when you give away money, everybody always finds you.
We found you. Is that true?
That's very true. You're everybody's best friend. That's what I like to say.
But it is more than the money because you're helping them help themselves.
Correct. And what we like to do, we're a very different foundation. We're a different funding model. I mean, we not only provide the information, but we collaborate with the people.
That's what I mean.
We'll troubleshoot projects. We're very accessible, and we really are, our goal is to develop the best practices. That's what's happening nationally. So, in fact, this year we hope to publish some more information on what's going on in the fields of employment for people with disabilities.
What do you mean, publish it where, for whom,
Well,
and
we
why?
want to take some of our good examples of the projects and the work we do and let others know, because sometimes we feel like we're the best kept secret in town. So, you know, when you work on different projects, you work in local communities like New Jersey, you work in different states, not everybody knows what's going on, and we really would like to get that message out, that there are great companies out there hiring people with disabilities, great organizations, and of course it's always the people, lots of dedicated professionals that really are moving that needle on employment.
You talk about working in the New York, New Jersey market, and this one-on-one is seen in the tri-state area, but you also work with multinational companies. The Pepsi, good example, the Pepsi initiative is huge. It's just starting. What are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about Pepsi America's Beverage, which is really a division of PepsiCo. And they created a challenge for their employees called Achieving Change Together. And
ACT?
ACT, right. And that came to us through a local not-for-profit based in Connecticut called Ability Beyond. And Ability Beyond had some relationships with Pepsi, and Pepsi decided that over the next 4 to 5 years, they want to hire 2,000 people with disabilities.
2,000?
2,000 is the minimum. That's, you know, corporations want to do things quickly in big ways, and they are going to be looking at 8 different sites nationally. And then have 10 satellites off those 8 sites. So it's a very large initiative starting in Minneapolis and then probably moving to Houston and launching from there.
We actually have, right after this program, we're taping an interview with one of the nonprofits. It's not a major corporation, but it's Hudson Community Enterprise.
Correct.
Why a nonprofit, and what would they be expected to do with respect to employing those with disabilities?
Well, you know, Steve, it's really interesting. There's a new model that's happening nationally, and it's social enterprise. It's really been around for 20 years.
Say it again, social enterprise?
Social enterprise. But it's really been around for a long time, but only starting to take off with not-for-profits. So what that means is a not-for-profit is starting a business entity that has a social mission. So it's doing good, but it also spins off some excess money, some excess revenue. And Hudson Community Enterprises was one of the first ones in this area that we funded. So we've invested close to $1 million in Hudson Community Enterprises to help them launch document. We started with a shredding business, they moved to document imaging, and now they do digital mail. So their incredible growth has spurred 125 people into jobs, and they're a $4 million organization, and their excess revenue just in this particular section is about $400 to $500 million, which is going back into their business and helping others retain their jobs and stay in the jobs. But I'm sure you'll learn more as you interview them.
Well, that's the whole idea behind the series, is to interview those who in fact are doing this, who are making a difference, and so hopefully no longer a best kept secret. But I want to thank you, Elaine, for coming in. Do you mind if I plug one more time? Let's put up the website. Again, our great team just did it right there. Elaine Katz, Senior Vice President, Program Center, Kessler Foundation. I want to thank you, not just for being here, but for allowing us in the world of public broadcasting to share the story of what you're doing, but more importantly, the work of these organizations that you're helping to employ those with disabilities, because there are so many misconceptions, because the folks we're talking about have so much to contribute to society, and we need to all make a difference. But thank you very much, Elaine.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, we will be right back with One-on-One right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
There she is, Tracye McDaniel, President and Chief Executive Officer of Choose New Jersey. Good to see you.
Oh, it's great being here.
A lot of people choose New Jersey?
Yes.
Why?
People are choosing New Jersey every day. First, New Jerseyans chose New Jersey. That's the first thing. They're here. There are so many people who come to live, work, and play in New Jersey. So that's the first. And when we look at some of the competitive advantages that the state has, for a business, big or small, New Jersey has some great, what I call bones, terrific advantages of doing business here. And it's a good value proposition for companies who want to be on the East Coast.
By the way, I realized I forgot that you and I talk so often. I forgot to ask you to tell people what Choose New Jersey.
I'm happy
let's
to
put
do
up
that.
the Choose New Jersey site.
Yeah.
What is Choose New Jersey?
Choose New Jersey is a nonprofit that promotes the state to attract jobs and investment. And we do that globally, domestically and internationally, and target companies that meet the advantages as far as our target industries that are important to the state. So we are having conversations with companies and C-suite executives all over the country about the business advantages of New Jersey.
Now, the slogan, highly educated, perfectly located. Are we perfectly located?
I think we are. And I'll tell you, I think we are the best value when it comes to having an East Coast location. Why? I think strategically we have access to any global market that you need to be in very quickly if you're looking at a U.S. corporate headquarters. I think that we have some of the strongest sectors when it comes to life sciences and our manufacturing and chemical and food processing, and also petroleum. Our defense, aviation, excellent industry sector. But even more importantly, when you look at companies who are making decisions about where to relocate, they look at how their businesses will operate. So can we handle big data centers? Absolutely. We have some of the most advanced fiber optics infrastructure in this country.
What does that mean?
So that means that if you're looking at broadband, wireless capabilities, New Jersey ranks at either number 1 or 2 in the country for that infrastructure and access. So companies who want a large amount of data in these data centers or call centers, this is the site to be in. And if you're looking at advanced technology, advanced manufacturing, we have some of the most highly educated workforce in the country, scientists, engineers, STEM.
Science,
technology, engineering, and math, educated from those areas, and therefore we can put people to work very quickly. So I think, yes, we are strategically located and we have a workforce that's available to go to work.
But you know what, Tracye, we've talked about this offline as well, and you are an ambassador. You go everywhere to pitch, sell, and ask people to choose.
Yes.
But you're not homegrown.
Right.
You come from the great state of?
Texas.
That's a different sell, right?
It is absolutely a different sell.
Okay, so you know that we have certain challenges in terms of perception of New Jersey. And one of the perceptions is that we're a high tax state.
Yes.
Real?
It is. It's very real. But here's the interesting part of New Jersey. Over the last, I'd say, 4 years, they've done an excellent job at improving the incentive packages that we can offer companies, which levels the playing field. So if my job is to go out there and create an awareness of New Jersey and have conversations with C-suite executives.
What do you mean C-suite?
I mean either a CEO, CFO, COO, people over their corporate real estate, people who are managing location decisions every day is who we target and who we talk to, and also site consultants. And these are consultants that corporations will hire to do their location proposals and to filter proposals and sites for them. So we are talking directly to those people. And when we talk about New Jersey and what EDA and our Partnership for Action,
EDA is the Economic
Development Authority, the Business Action Center, as a group, we have been recognized as probably the most advanced, reorganized economic development effort in the country. Recently, I think later this year, probably the first quarter, toward the end of the first quarter, we'll be recognized as one of the top economic development groups in the country. That is a huge signal for New Jersey. We have not been in that, as I would say in Texas, high cotton in a while as far as recognition. So it puts us in a great spot to not only be recognized amongst these people who are making decisions for locations, but to be recognized amongst our peers as leading and having a best practice.
It's interesting. Because you come from a different state, do you think you see New Jersey differently than those of us who are born and raised in this garden state?
Yeah, I love that question because, you know, I came in to understand with a very open mind the assets of New Jersey. And I heard from so many people, New Jersey has this, oh, we're high tax, oh, we're a labor state. And then when we looked at our research and we conducted a perception study of CEOs outside of the state, and we said, what do you think about New Jersey? There were several limited times that some of those big issues that we who live here come up. They look at our infrastructure as being advanced. It moves people, it moves products.
Right.
We look at it as I'm stalled on the turnpike.
Right.
Totally
Or the
different
parkway.
perception. Or the parkway. Either way, you know, we have a different perception. So when we talk to these businesses, we're able to talk to them from a very research perspective and give them the advantages of New Jersey. So coming from outside, I was open-minded enough to say, let's just scrub what we hear in the state, go out and find the research, talk to people outside and find out why they're either coming here and choosing New Jersey or why they can't. And we share that information with our Partnership for Action under the Lieutenant Governor's leadership. And we're able to create incentives and policies to deal and combat those issues head on. So I think that's very important.
Help us understand something. Because there are other organizations advocating business. We have a relationship and work with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Because there's the Business and Industry Association, right?
Yes.
How is Choose New Jersey different from those organizations?
Well, you're looking at some very influential business membership-driven organizations. We are not a membership-driven organization. As a nonprofit, our sole mission is to promote the state. And we promote the state from top to bottom, all aspects. It has no bearing on who the members are. Our contributors contribute because they want to see the state have a very positive business climate and grow the economic base of our state.
That's their interest.
That's their interest solely. So it's a very umbrella approach of how to approach, sell the state for attraction and investment.
So, and your board, it's interesting, your board, we met recently at your office, we started talking about your board. It is in every industry, virtually every industry?
Almost every industry, and we're strategically recruiting companies that can fill every industry of the state and also geographically.
And real quick, before I let you go, heavily, aggressively involved in ad campaigns?
Absolutely, we have to be, and it's very targeted. So you're not going to see our ads, for example, on your local cable network.
Why not?
Because we feel that that's very consumer-driven or broad appeal. We really target that CEO. We target the site consultants who make location decisions, and we give them information about New Jersey that can help influence that. What we hope to do is get on the short list and be one or two. And if we can be there, we can come up with a compelling business proposition of why they need to be in New Jersey.
Just want to be in the game.
We got to be in the game.
Tracye McDaniel, President and CEO. I like how that sounds. Choose New Jersey. We're glad to be working with you, promoting a great state.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Glad
Tracye.
to be here. Thank you.
See you soon.
Okay.
Stay with us. One-on-one. We'll be right back right after this.
If you would like more information on this program or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Warren Geller is President and Chief Executive Officer of Englewood Hospital and Medical Center. Good to see you, Warren.
Great to see you again, Steve.
You were just telling me before you got on the air, you've had a pretty good year.
Yes, indeed.
How do you explain that? I mean, with all the uncertainty and some say instability in the healthcare landscape environment, how do you explain it?
I explain if I started 5 years ago, being proactive and seeing the changes in healthcare, going beyond the four walls of a medical center and creating an infrastructure out there in the community for convenience for patients and really just adjusting to what was coming down the pike.
So as you talk about the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, how the heck, first have you gotten ready for it, and now with the implementation of it, do you sit there and go, how does it affect our bottom line? Or do you say, hey, it's a way of life and we're going to deal with it anyway?
I would say it's a combination of both. Obviously, the bottom line is important because we constantly need to reinvest in the community. But we also need to say, you know what, we're here for our communities, and it's the new way of life. It started by becoming more efficient, looking inside the hospital and how we could be the high-quality, low-cost provider in the region to be most competitive.
Give us an example of what that means, because no one's going to disagree with what you just said, because efficiency, you know, hey, efficient, we like that. Give us an example of what you have done at Englewood that makes that real.
Yeah, it starts with what you're building out there, getting the patients when they're well, giving them the information. So if somebody does come in for a cardiac surgery procedure, we have a successful surgery, an efficient surgery, have an excellent length of stay, move them from a cardiovascular ICU to a step down more quickly, maybe go home with home care rather than go to subacute rehab afterwards. It's a less expensive, more efficient model of care with the best outcomes.
And you're also saying off air that cardiac surgery is up?
Yes. Cardiac surgery was up by more than 20% in 2013.
How about the rest of the country?
The rest of the country in the last 10 years, CABGs alone, so traditional coronary artery bypass graft, open heart surgery.
I didn't know what that acronym was, but go ahead.
Is down by over 50% in the last 10 years. And we were up in overall hearts by, like I said, over 20%. We did 340 hearts, and our case mix index was high, which means our patients were really sick. It measures the severity of their illness. And again, we were at the top of the state report for cardiac outcomes each year.
You know, it's interesting. You use the term severity of illness. From a layperson's perspective, how is that measured?
Yeah, it's measured by the disease, by the comorbidities the patient's suffering from, everything else surrounding the illness within that patient.
It's interesting. The other part of this whole process is physicians. Physicians are the more, as folks who know our programming, you know, we do an awful lot of medical, clinical, health-related programming. Physicians are playing a more and more, just playing a critical role in healthcare today. How is it that at Englewood you are recruiting and then retaining the best physician leaders out there?
Well, talent attracts talent, and we have an award-winning, superb medical staff at Englewood Hospital. And what we've done is embraced our physicians, partnered with them, set up a captive PC that's physician...
Captive PC.
Yeah, it's a professional corporation. It's a physician group, multi-specialty physician group, run by physicians, led by physicians, where we partner with our physicians, because physicians know how to best care for their patients in the office. And if you partner with them and wrap around a great medical center around them, and the pre-care and the post-care, whether it be an ambulance service in all the towns we serve, to partners in skilled nursing facilities and rehab, you really have a wonderful model across an integrated delivery system.
And for a CEO like yourself, do you find that the role of a CEO in a hospital today, just as opposed to 10 years ago, because you before you were the CEO, you had a previous role on the executive side as well, and you've interacted with other CEOs for years. But just say 10 years ago, do you think the role of a CEO in a hospital like yours is different today than just 10 years ago?
Absolutely.
How so?
Absolutely, Steve. It's different in the fact that 10, 15 years ago, you were buried in a lot of numbers and spreadsheets, and you talked about that bottom line earlier, and now it's about being out there, talking to all the different community groups and saying, what are we doing well? What can we do differently? What should we be doing at your community hospital, your medical center? Because remember, we're really owned by the community. We're there for the community. We're a not-for-profit.
People forget that you're a nonprofit.
Yes.
You know, it sounds like an oxymoron, though, because you're a nonprofit, but you do have to run an efficient operation and have a bottom line. You're just not making a profit.
Right. We've had a surplus from operations 7 years in a row now. And what it means is that we take that surplus and it's reinvested in the medical center, which in essence you're reinvesting in the community. You're doing more community outreach. We did over $20 million in unreimbursed care last year for our community, which we're extremely proud of.
Which means you don't get any money back for that.
Right. We did about $23 million in total, and we received a little bit less than $2 million in reimbursement on that amount.
Warren, before I let you out of here, I want to talk about the Cancer Treatment and Wellness Center. The Cancer Treatment and Wellness Center, what is it and why is it important?
The Cancer Treatment and Wellness Center is going to be a 180,000 square foot structure when it's all done of comprehensive care for cancer. So anything a cancer patient needs, all in one center. The convenience of a dedicated drop-off, you see the same valet and the same concierge and the same nurse physician down the line in one location. You won't have to enter the hospital proper, but it's right there on campus.
Why is that important?
It's important because when you're sick, and if you need a long course of radiation therapy, you really need to consider not just the patient's needs, but their family's needs as well. If it's the middle of the winter, a winter like we've had this year, and you have your 80-year-old mom or dad and they need their treatment and you have to bundle them up and bring them out for their treatment, you want it to be convenient. You want the latest and greatest technology. You want all the experts there, from the medical staff to the nursing staff to everybody else that cares for that patient. And it's nice to have it all in one location, especially when it begins with a diagnosis. Because once a patient hears that they have cancer, they get a little glazed over. You start to hear white noise. But if we could say, here's a navigator, they're going to bring you right down the hall so you could meet your potential breast surgeon. And they could discuss things with you about your care. That's different than the old days of handing someone a business card and say, call this office on Monday and they'll take care of you.
Talk about feeling alone.
Right.
It's interesting, a few seconds we have left here. When you're treating cancer, you're not just treating it from a clinical point of view.
No, you're treating the whole patient, and that includes their family. It absolutely is all about that. On our building, our Cancer Treatment and Wellness Center, it's the Russell and Angelica Berry Center for Humanistic Care. And that's not just a word. We take that very seriously.
Yeah, Dr. Arnold Gold, who started that whole initiative, is important stuff.
Yes,
Thank you
indeed.
so much, Warren.
Oh,
Good stuff.
thank you.
Appreciate
Always
it.
a pleasure.
Good.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge, Choose New Jersey, NJIT, Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, Berkeley College, and by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.
New Jersey invented the light bulb. It keeps us well lit and monster-free. Today, New Jersey produces megawatt minds that power innovation. Choose New Jersey and enter a state of brilliance.